Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We're glad to have you join us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Now the details. The Debt Management Office, DMO, has urged the federal government to place strong emphasis on revenue generation from multiple sources to ensure that debt is sustained. Director General of DMO, Patience Oniha, says initiatives that have been introduced to finance capital through public-private partnerships are expedient to fund infrastructure projects. Leah Katun Babatunde reports.
The debate around Nigeria's debt has lingered for over 6 years as economic shocks resulted in recession twice, making borrowing a major tool for reversing the downward trend. Nigeria's debt stock stands at 35.5 trillion naira and is expected to rise above 42 trillion naira following fresh loan approvals. The debts are largely to meet infrastructure deficit and revamp the economy.
It is safe to say that public debt and public debt management are the interest of Nigerians at large. But it's also important that these are being looked at the National Assembly.
The legislature has given support to this drive, and already members of the National Assembly Committee on Debt Management are meeting with officials of the Debt Management Office to deliberate on issues likely to impact on the nation's economy.
Government and its agencies must, as a matter of policy, reintroduce the concept of monitoring and evaluation in the planning and implementation of projects and programs of government.
The World Bank, in its latest report on debt transparency in developing economies, commended Nigeria's debt reporting, stating that 40% of low-income developing countries were yet to publish transparent sovereign debt data in the last 2 years, excluding Nigeria. In Abuja, Leah Babatunde, NTA News.
Exporting more goods and services other than oil and encouraging SMEs and farmers are some of the ways stakeholders believe the Naira can be strengthened. This was the thrust of discussions at the final dialogue series of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership with the theme, Reworking the Economy, Fresh Perspective on the Naira. Haman Jabani reports.
The dialogue series, which had in attendance the 54 participants of the Nigerian Prize for Leadership Ambassadors Leadership Program, saw youth expressing worries over the devaluation of the Naira, borrowing rate by the government, interest rate in Naira, and more demand for dollars in the country for transactions. To clear their minds, the Director of Monetary Policy Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Hassan Mahmoud, informed that government is working hard to stabilize the Naira, and there are policies and programs put in place to encourage farmers and manufacturers.
And our central bank keeps saying that don't use black market rate as a reference rate, because even those that will buy arms, those that will do terrorist financing, those that will do money laundering, they come to that market, and those are not demand and supply, those are not trade. And so you see those players playing in that space and distorting the market.
How would they rate how they are getting more people in the informal sector into the formal sector, so that at least we can actually keep an eye on what is going on there and we can rate the effectiveness of CBN's policies.
All speakers agree on the 24 points, which include growing the Naira and, in effect, the Nigerian economy must involve well-informed leadership and a strong institutional framework that will checkmate the activities of the leadership. Others are measures by the central bank should be able to bring about price, monetary and policy stability, sustainability of value of the domestic currency, and the management of liquidity volume. And the nation's economy needs to grow at 11%, but it is currently growing at 2%, a situation which the stakeholders describe as an emergency. Haman Jabani, NTA News.
The African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat is seeking the establishment of maritime communities towards achieving a competitive and integrated regional hub. This was at the opening ceremony of an international conference on the role of transportation in the Africa Continental Free Trade Zone area in Abuja. Oyinayaka Loka reports.
African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is aimed at creating single continental markets for goods and services. It will ensure free movement of businesses, persons and investment, thereby paving way for accelerated growth. But how possible will this be without transport and logistics?
How can goods manufactured in Nigeria reach Chad Republic fast, reliably?
And this is where the issue of the connectivity and connection between trade and transportation.
54 countries have signed the agreement, while 41 have completed their national processes to rectify it. Stakeholders at this conference noted that transport has a critical role in the implementation of the trade.
It is time for us to form maritime communities so that these goods can actually move around.
Nigeria is geographically located to serve as a hub, and efforts of government to develop the transport sector commended.
The Nigerian government has embarked on huge transport infrastructure investment across the country to ensure efficiency in the transportation sector.
The ministry is making tremendous progress in the rail subsector.
In all circumstances, Nigeria should have the best facilities so that it can serve the rest of Africa.
There's this clear understanding that we need to develop this sector.
Critical action plan is expected at the end of the two-day conference organized by the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology. Oyinaya Kalo Oka, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has commenced holistic amendment of the Nigeria Customs and Excise Management Act in view of its significance to Nigeria's fiscal and national policy development. The bill seeks more revenue generation for critical projects funding to boost the nation's economy. Sponsor of the bill, Representative Leke Abejide, while debating the general principles of the bill, says the amendment will enable implementation of the recently enacted Finance Act, in particular the collection of levies on carbonated drinks now captured in the bill. Other areas of amendment include provision of stiffer penalties on offenders, repositioning the service in terms of logistics, and enabling legislative input in the appointment of the Controller General, as is the case with other organizations like the police and armed forces. The bill has scaled second reading. Still from the National Assembly, the Senate has mandated its Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to engage the Federal Ministry of Justice in the issue of delay in prosecution of perpetrators of violence against women. This followed a motion of personal explanation by the Chairman Senate Committee on Women Affairs, Senator Betty Apiafi, in commemoration of the 2021 International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The motion highlighted the various social vices associated with violence against women, which in some cases resulted in death of victims with delay or denial of justice for victims.
Perpetrators that have been sentenced is just about they're just about 33 perpetrators, while we have over 972 cases still pending in court. So the only prayer we have today is to urge the Senate to mandate the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to take up the issue of delays in prosecution of perpetrators of gender-based violence with the Federal Ministry of Justice, with a view of setting up additional special courts to handle the issues of gender-based violence.
And also reminding us about the advancement we've also made as a National Assembly, especially with respect to the domestication of the VAP Act and also the Child Rights Act, moving from 33 with respect to the VAP and now 27 with respect to the Child Rights Act. I think that's a major advancement, and we should congratulate the National Assembly.
The Jos Medium Correctional Center jailbreak and called for reinforcement of physical protection at correctional centers to forestall further occurrence, and mandated its Committee on Interior to engage the Ministry of Interior and the Attorney General of the Federation on the need to review Nigeria's correctional system. It also condemned the attacks in Bassa and Jos East local government areas of Plateau North Senatorial District as moved by Senator Estefanos Gyang. 7 more inmates who escaped from the Jos Custodial Center have been recaptured. Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Haliru Nababa, disclosed this in Jos after inspecting facilities in the center. Hekemeren Kaneng Ladoja reports.
The Controller General represented says, with the additional 7, a total of 17 inmates have been recaptured. He commended interagency synergy during the attack.
The military and civil defense, we are all here to help in seeing that all of these people did not go out. To them, we are grateful. That is the essence of synergy. And the sister security agencies are helping us to recapture some of them back. Already about 17 as of today have been recaptured back. And we have the hope that with the things we have on ground, the records we have on ground, we will be able to recapture a good number of them.
Efforts, he says, would be redoubled to improve on correctional services across the country.
We have CCTV in some of our custodial centers. Until we get the report of the investigators, we will not be able to tell exactly who these people were, from where they came, and how many there were.
He called on staff of the correctional services to continue to be alive to their responsibilities. In Jos, Ekemeren Kaneng Ladoja, NTA News.
Still on the matter, the need to decongest correctional facilities in the country by implementing the law to deal with condemned prisoners has re-echoed on Good Morning Nigeria. The guests frowned at situations where condemned prisoners become institutionalized, dictating and compromising the correctional service. Lydia Sampson has that one.
Of recent, there have been attacks on correctional facilities across the country, with the incident that took place in Jos, Plateau State. Gaston Good Morning Nigeria said it is a security challenge that is embarrassing. They called for interrogation of internal and external factors that make the facilities vulnerable. They also called for concerted efforts to monitor communication of inmates with their cohorts.
Some of these condemned prisoners have become institutions. That is compromising the system. We know as a fact that some of the delays in the disposal of cases are also connected to a deficit in infrastructure regarding the correctional service centers.
These attacks don't just happen just on their own. There must have been discussions, and it's amazing that inmates already have, cell phones, so there are communications that are ongoing. And again, it brings me to the discussion I had when I started this day, that you have to also look at the internal factors. How did these inmates get those handsets?
I think an alarm mechanism or an alarm framework that is supposed to be set on ground to alert all these, agencies surrounding the facility is lacking.
The issue of security. Yes, security is a major issue where you have the free flow of arms, small arms and ammunition. Everybody can go anywhere and get this thing. So it's a major thing that needs to be looked into.
They advocated a holistic evaluation of institutional reforms, identify bad eggs, as well as ensure training of correctional service workers to make them more proactive to prevent future attacks. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Any government official found undermining government projections, escalating the cost of governance, and denying Nigeria value for money through projects duplication in the budget will be sanctioned. Severe punishment also awaits those conducting illegal recruitment, padding their personnel payroll, and retaining ghost workers in the service. President Muhammadu Buhari read the Riot Act at the 3rd National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has more.
The summit, put together by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in collaboration with the ICPC, had as its theme corruption and cost of governance, new imperative for fiscal transparency. Several infractions, including illegal recruitment and duplication of projects in the budget, have been identified as major push factors on high cost of governance and rising personnel budget.
ICPC review of the 2021 budget found that 257 projects amounting to 20.138 billion were duplicated.
If we do not fight corruption and kill it, like the president would always say, corruption will kill our country.
President Muhammadu Buhari said with the COVID-19 pandemic creating a strain on the nation's resources, government has no alternative than to look critically at the cost of governance.
We cannot ignore critical investment in infrastructure and other investments that will enhance growth, development, and security. Government has, however, noted that some MDAs have devised the fraudulent practice of presenting new projects as ongoing projects. Necessary action and sanctions will continue against the heads of such errant MDAs.
President Buhari also expressed serious concern over the creation of many departments and agencies over the years, thereby duplicating roles and bureaucracy in governance.
Reforms are needed, but every reform has inherent costs and pains. Government will strike a balance to maintain social equilibrium, mitigate the pains of reforms, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. Nonetheless, those who illegally bring in personnel into the public workforce by illegal recruitment, those who paid their personal payroll, those who retain ghost workers must be and will be severely punished.
The president said Nigeria's immense potential have been handicapped by corruption and imbalanced economy as well as insecurity, which the federal government is committed to finding lasting solutions. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed delivered a keynote address at the event, while the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, and Senate President Ahmed Lawan represented in their messages of goodwill, pledged the support of the judiciary and the legislature respectively to the government's genuine efforts at eliminating corruption and corrupt tendencies in Nigeria's national life for a prosperous future.
If possible, special courts and expedited trials can be introduced or adopted for corrupt cases.
It is my fervent belief that if all of us work in harmony with one voice, corruption and allied cases will certainly be on their way out.
The National Assembly remains committed to the aspiration of a corrupt-free and indefensible Nigeria.
Major highlight of the ceremony was the presentation of the 2021 Public Service Integrity Awards to 3 deserving Nigerians. They are Muhammad Tukur Ahmad of the NDLEA, Nelson Oji Okoronko of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and Ikenna Steve Nweke, a PhD student in Japan who found a wallet containing large sums of money, submitted it to the Japanese police, and declined a 10% reward offered in return. President Buhari described him as an icon and indeed a beacon of the nation's youth. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, has adjourned till the 6th of December the 2 billion naira defamation suit filed by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, against the Chief Executive Officer of Sunrise Power and Transmission Company Limited, Leno Olaiton Adesonya, over some alleged libelous publications made in 2 national dailies. Fashola, in a statement of claim in the suit before the court, accused Adesonya of making false and disparaging publications against him in The Guardian and This Day newspapers of January 11th and 16th, 2019, in respect of the Mambila Power Project. Adesonya was said to have, in the said publications, accused the minister of frustrating the completion of the Mambila Power Project and engaging in acts of corruption in relation to the project while serving as Minister of Power, Works and Housing. The minister stated that the advertorial publications captioned Mambila Power Project, open letter to Mr. Babatunde Fashola, and sponsored by Adesonya, amount to character assassination with a view to achieving damaging effects against him. Fashola added that the 2 newspaper publications portrayed him as unworthy of his office as minister or any other public office. Counsel to Fashola, Charles Edosomwa, SAN, told the court that the second defendant, The Guardian, is yet to file any response in the case. Justice Sylvester Orji, while adjourning the case, noted that the defendants are still within the required 7 days to file their responses. It's now time to join Kainde in our Lagos Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Kainde. Over to you.
Hello, Lydia. Thank you for joining us in Lagos. Prosecution witness in the trial of Chidinma and 2 others over the alleged murder of Yusuf Ataga, Mr. Rotimi Albert, says there was a deep indentation of rope marks on the body of the deceased at the point of death. He stated this while testifying before a Lagos High Court sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Amaka O completes the report.
The 4th prosecution witness, Rotimi Albert, a longtime friend of late Michael Yusufo Ataga, told the court that he received a call from a mutual friend of theirs that the contact of the deceased could not be reached. The wife of the deceased, he said, reported to security operatives in Abuja about the unknown whereabouts of her husband. The prosecution witness told the court that this development resulted to tracking of phones of the deceased to the University of Lagos guest house and then Alogomeji in Yaba. He told the court that they later received a call that a body was found. Mr. Rotimi Albert said that he and a mutual friend went to the morgue to identify the body of Michael Yusufo Ataga. Mr. Albert noted that he observed that the body of the deceased had stab wounds on the neck, abdomen, side, and legs, with deep indentation marks around his wrists. During cross-examination, counsel to the first defendant inquired how the banking details of the deceased were monitored by the 4th prosecution witness, but the prosecution counsel vehemently objected to the line of questions by the defendant counsel. After much argument by both counsels, Justice Yetunde Adesonya then adjourned the case till February 2022 for further hearing. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Delivering quality public service towards achieving a human and capital development requires commitment, selfless determination, and patriotism to achieve the obligation. To this end, some political leaders have adopted the progressive agenda of a government to deliver social and infrastructural development. Abolade Salami completes the report.
Since the country returned to a democratic system in 1999 till date, the political space has evolved with current democratic developments as practiced by most countries of the world. Although still nascent, Nigerians have taken advantage of the people's system of government to hold leaders accountable of their stewardship as a means to build a formidable, indivisible, and progressive country. Against this background, political players gathered to celebrate the nation's democratic development by honoring Imo State former Governor Rochas Okorocha, a man many described as a political leader who has adopted various means to impact lives and people of diverse culture and beliefs in the spirit of unity, peace, and patriotism, with Nigeria, a heterogeneous nation, better for it.
As a true Nigerian, a detribalized Nigerian, though an Igbo man, but also loved in the north and the west, though a Christian, but as more Muslim in his companies and foundations. Today, Rochas Foundation is found in all geopolitical zones and states of Nigeria.
The strength and unity of Nigeria as the most populous black nation in the continent of Africa that promotes different value systems and practices have brought about development in many facets of nationhood.
Who can meet the ends of the poor and the needy? It is Rocha Okorocha. Take it or you leave it. He has been doing it.
And by the special grace of God, collectively we are going to do it. Collectively we will be there. Collectively we will make it work in Nigeria.
However, as the country progresses in a democratic journey, the need for political leaders to lead by example have been identified as crucial to achieving national development. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's take a short break. The news continues shortly with Lydia in Abuja.
It's another season of Carols.
Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria invite you to their annual service of 9 lessons and carols.
Theme, Peace, Be Still.
Come and enjoy the ministrations of Radio Nigeria, NTA, Voice of Nigeria, and other choirs.
The message will be given by the Most Reverend Dr. Ignatius Kaigama, Archbishop, Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja.
And lessons will be read by notable Nigerians.
Chairman, Mr. Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Special guest of honor, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Chief host, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information and Culture.
Host, Directors General of FRCN, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria.
Date, 5th of December 2021.
Venue, National Christian Center, Abuja.
Time, 3 p.m. prompt.
The program will be broadcast live on Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria,
including live streaming on Facebook.
For advert placement, call Rate on 0803 451 2261, Lillian on 0803 314 4383, or Bibiana on 0909 965 1270.
All COVID-19 protocols will be duly observed.
Radio Nigeria, NTA, and Voice of Nigeria Service of 9 Lessons and Carols 2021.
Supported by Vivid Sounds. Come, let's celebrate the newborn king.
Are you an entrepreneur? Do you operate small businesses, sell, promote, or market product or equipment, rent, hire, produce, offer services in music, food, fashion, film, photography, painting, sculpture, play, drama, comedy, travel, and hospitality sector? Enjoy Nigeria Expo 2021 is here for you to showcase your product, services, and skills. Learn how to grow your business, connect with customers, network with frontline entrepreneurs in your sector across Nigeria. Enjoy Nigeria Expo is holding from December 6 to 12, 2021 at the Abuja International Trade and Convention Center, Kilometer 8, Umaru Yar'Adua Expressway, Airport Road, Abuja. For inquiry, call 009-114-3424, 009-643-0859. Enjoy Nigeria Expo 2021 is brought to you by Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Welcome to Nigeria Project and Abuja Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Enjoy Nigeria, future assured through cultural creativity.
Over Femi Martins, just look at this. Remember the name. That is a wonderful goal.
The African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA. Powered by AfroSports. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Thanks for staying with us. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria will continue to support ECOWAS Parliament to make laws to address all factors impeding security, peace, democracy, and sustainable economic development in West Africa. At the opening of the 2021 Second Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Parliament, President Buhari reaffirmed his commitment to regional integration and good governance in ECOWAS. Onegi Findface reports.
ECOWAS Parliament 2021 Second Ordinary Session holds in line with Article 17.2a of the Supplementary Act for Parliament to consider the ECOWAS Community Budget towards addressing the needs of the people. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a message, tasked members of Parliament to be thorough in revising the previous budget performance and making fiscal provisions to address critical regional concerns and targets in the new budget.
2021 Second Ordinary Session is crucial to the realization of the institution's objectives by creating the opportunity for the intervention of parliamentarians. These interventions are citizen-driven, given the place of parliamentarians in governance arrangements.
We need to sustain coordination and to work in synergy in order to succeed in bringing about an ECOWAS of the people as we march towards Vision 2050. The budget is also expected to advance progress in democracy, rule of law, peace, conflict resolution, fight against terrorism and other forms of insecurity, poverty, climate change, and the COVID-19 crisis.
We must leave our comfort zone and go to the people, remembering that we are only servants and nothing more. Furthermore, Putting an end to violence and threats to our rising democracies should be our greatest priority. For only in peace and unity that we can plan and actualize national and regional development.
Referrals from the ECOWAS Commission will also be considered during this ordinary session, alongside parliamentary workshops, country and committee reports on a wide range of issues. In Abuja, Unifying NTA News.
Nigeria and South Africa have come a long way in their bilateral relationship, both in regional integration and foreign policy. How have they fared at some point along the way, and how has it been crucial to their development? Charles Alpha takes a look at the progress, problems and prospects of these countries regarded as Africa's most flourishing countries in trade and sustainable development.
During the apartheid era, Nigeria, amongst other independent African states, fought for the liberation of their black brothers and sisters in South Africa. Then, Nigeria had no bilateral relations with the government of South Africa, as the country was a pariah state in the international community because of her apartheid posture.
Our foreign relations has always been Afrocentric. So Nigeria played a very significant role in that era in seeing to the liberation of South Africa as a country and the entire Southern African region.
Since the inception of democratic rule in Nigeria, South Africa and Nigeria have had encouraging bilateral economic relations. Gradually, they made steady progress, and today they are regarded as Africa's emerging giants. Between 2002 to date, South Africa has invested over $1.4 billion in tourism and telecommunications ventures in Nigeria. Their economic and military capacity, culture, values and policies have positioned them as regional powers and find expression in their influential roles in respective sub-regions. Both countries are the dominant state entities in their respective sub-regions. They also have a history of cooperation with and involvement in a range of continental projects like the New Partnership for Africa's Development, NEPAD. Even though both are plagued in diverse ways, they have proven they can rise above their challenges.
A lot can be done to ensure that all those tensions that leads to diplomatic row between the countries laid to rest. Issues around xenophobic attack should be discussed, early warning systems put in place, and of course, even the fight against COVID-19.
The visit of the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to Nigeria is hoped will consolidate on the gains and explore more ways both countries can achieve more. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Now to the judiciary. A federal high court in Abuja has declared as illegal, unlawful and unconstitutional the banishment of the 57th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, to Awe, a remote community in Nasarawa State. Delivering judgment in a suit filed by the applicants, the court held that the restrictions placed on Sanusi after his deposition on March 9, 2020, on allegations of insubordination was a clear arbitrary violation of his rights to freedom of movement and personal liberty. Presiding Judge Justice Chikere noted that Sanusi's movement out of Kano to Abuja and later to Awe in Nasarawa State was against his wish. Therefore, the court set it aside with a fine of 10 million naira awarded as damages against the police, DSS and Kano State government, and also tender a public apology to him. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory High Court has nullified the congresses of the Kano State All Progressives Congress APC conducted by the Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje-led faction. The presiding judge, Justice Hamza Muazu, upheld the congresses conducted by Ibrahim Shekarau-led faction of the party. The court ruled that the Shekarau-led faction conducted election that was signed by the 7-man committee of the APC. The court further held that all the congresses conducted by the Ibrahim Shekarau-led faction are valid. He therefore directed the defendants to adopt, recognize, and rely on the summary results sheet for what Congress, elected delegates, and state delegates submitted at the APC headquarters in Abuja. The national chairman-elect of the People's Democratic Party says political parties should always engage in issue-based criticism rather than attacking personalities. He stated this in Abuja while playing host to a delegation of the Coalition of the United Political Parties. Timothy Yusuf has more.
The coalition of the United Political Parties was formed during the build-up to the 2019 general election, with the People's Democratic Party playing an active role. This visit on the national chairman-elect of the PDP, Senator Yoche Ayu, by delegation of the CUPP, is therefore to identify with one of their own, with the aim of charting a way forward to national development.
So when the PDP went and said they want you and voted for you, everybody unanimously, the CUPP were excited because of the prospect that we know you are going to bring to the table because of your beliefs in intra-party discipline.
Nigeria is a multi-party system. Some people mistakenly think Nigeria has only two political parties. No, and this is important. It gives the electorates choices.
While promising sustained partnership, the national chairman-elect Yoche Ayu says there was the urgent need to hit the ground running towards galvanizing political parties in the opposition ahead of the 2023 general election. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
The deployment of technology in Nigerian elections is a sure way to deepening election administration, integrity, and citizens' participation. Youth Initiative Advocacy for Growth and Advancement, IAGA Africa, at a stakeholders engagement on electoral technology in Abuja says it aims to brainstorm on a set of common principles that should guide the deployment of electoral technology in future elections in Nigeria. Again, Timothy Yusuf has that one.
In the last decade, the Independent National Electoral Commission has relied on technology for biometric voter registration, electronic accreditation, and electronic transmission of results. Stakeholders gathered here believe that the deployment of technology sought to tackle the subversive efforts of some political actors who were determined to compromise the electoral process.
If the challenges, the vulnerabilities of these machines and technological tools are not addressed, they can potentially impact on the integrity of elections.
While describing INEC's determination to conduct elections within the COVID-19 pandemic as part setting, experts say it signals a turning point in Nigeria's electoral journey. The Policy and Legal Advocacy Center similarly convened the civil society organization's strategy session on the constitution review process and efforts, calling on quick assent for the passed amendments to the constitution.
Next year we would be going into election beginning. Hopefully the president signs the electoral bill. The implication of that would be, of course, that politicking would already get underway even by the first quarter of next year.
Addressing low representation of women through affirmative action in constitution reform and advocacy strategies for the passage of amendments to the constitution dominated discussions at the strategy sessions. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
To overcome low performance by workers when more investment in information technology is made, productivity consciousness in form of adjustments to innovations must be mainstreamed into every plan to boost growth and development of the country. This productivity paradox of more innovation but less growth formed the focus of the 6th productivity lecture by the National Productivity Center towards creating the pathway to growth and development. The lecture noted that national development plans and agenda of successive governments failed because emphasis was not given to investments in research and development to meet technological changes and adaptation. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Social Investment Program, Dr. Umar Binder, wanted Nigeria to focus on developing skills and applying innovations or strategies to strengthen economic activities such as the establishment of SMEs.
Emerge as a knowledge and learning society that can respond to any need, anytime. Your institutions are good, your employment is productive and vibrant, and so on and so forth.
To build a great and economically viable nation, it requires attitudinal changes and behavioral modifications by all of us, which is a major strength of productivity initiatives.
To improve productivity depends largely on the extent to which most important social forces can be combined and integrated.
The lecture concluded that productivity improvement has become a major driving force behind economic development, with total reliance on knowledge, creativity, innovation, wealth creation, employment generation, and an instrument for poverty reduction. Youths are described as indispensable partners in the growth and development of every society. Grooming this group of people is, however, important for their contributions. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim will tell us more.
Youths are said to be the backbone of any nation and a catalyst for sustainable development. With the large percentage of youth population in Nigeria, it is expected they contribute to national growth. However, laying the foundation for youth to explore their potential in the social, political, and economic strata has been a challenge that is being addressed across board. As the voice for inclusion of Nigerian youth continue to gain traction, particularly for leadership responsibilities, experts insist it is imperative for them to present themselves for the task and take advantage of the opportunities around them. The signing into law of the Not Too Young to Run by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018, among several initiatives targeted at engaging and grooming the youth for leadership roles, has not only been applauded but opened the vista for youth inclusion. Analysts, however, maintain that while the youths have had an exponential leap in national framework in the Buhari-led administration, a lot still needs to be done to balance the demographic scale to engender an integrated and inclusive society. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Joining me in the studio is Mr. Christian Ashaiku, a broadcaster and an investment consultant, to discuss further on the issue. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
For a long time now, Nigerian youths have been clamoring for inclusion in all areas of our national life, leadership roles inclusive, of course. Does the existing structures across board support this campaign by Nigeria's young people?
It's a tight one. Yes, because it's a unique time that the young people are now saying, hey, we want to participate in the democratic process, and I think it's a great thing. It's scary when young people are political illiterate, not interested in political processes. What is politics? Politics is governance mismanagement. And we face that challenge every day in our home, in anything we do. And when it comes to the national level, it is very important that young people participate in this process. If they're coming up now and say, we want to be part of it, my message to them is, please take it. Nobody give it to you. You got to take it. Not violently. There's a process. Let's do it. And that's the way to go.
Okay. Now, how do we stimulate the can-do spirit in Nigerian youths and change the perception from white-collar jobs to enterprising ventures?
Okay. I always like to talk about that. Life is about, life is about wealth creation. I believe in wealth creation, and the only challenge, the only reason we're crying, I always say to people, if you have a lot of money, you can buy the whole of England. So let us think about wealth creation. In fact, that's the essence of governance, it's to manage wealth, to create wealth. And yes, young people need to know that wealth is not created in the white-collar job. The better wealth you create is actually from your ideas, which I always say, cultivate an idea, let the idea solve a problem, and once the problem is solved, wealth will be created.
Okay. Now, finally, do you think the Nigerian environment is viable and encouraging enough to drive a leadership system that is youth-based? at this point in time?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Like I said, the young people need to take it. They need to come together, not in a violent way. They need to come together and say, hey, it is our time. We want to contribute to the political process. It's not, you can't change it. You contribute. And you can't do it when you sit on the fence. It's an opportunity for us to come together now and participate. Their processes is very simple, really. And if they could come together, let's spend a lot of time doing a lot of good things. Now, use that energy, put it into governance. And I'm sure the young people are talking about our children. They are one of us, you know. So if I always say, if young people fail, we fail. So we want them to succeed. Okay. I'm sure the elders, they want you to come on board, young people. So come on board, and I'm sure you'll be more than welcome.
Okay, I'm aware that you have something for the youth,
yes.
A project for the youth. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, the show I'm working on currently is called The Next President TV reality show. What I'm doing is I'm getting young people to participate in the democratic process. What I'm saying is, if you're a young man, wherever you are, come and run for the office of the president. And it starts normally from the state, where now we have the next governor. So we start to say, hey, we're starting from individual state. They are running for the office of governor in the individual state. The winners are now coming to Abuja to come and run for the office of the president. That is where we are. It's quite interesting because if you listen to what they say, you find that they have some brilliant ideas. They can really propose solutions to the problem, but they need a lot of mentoring, a lot of tutoring. That's where the elders come in. So it's going to be a combined process. We need the young people to participate. We need those on board to mentor them so that by tomorrow, when we are off the scene, they will take over.
That's good to know that you're one of those mentoring them and ensuring that they have a greater future. Thank you for joining us on Nationwide. I've been talking to Mr. Christian Ashako, a broadcaster and an investment consultant for youth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
The Federal Ministry of Labor and Productivity is thinking out of the box by evolving new strategies for addressing the challenge of gender-based violence at the workplace. In line with this, it is holding a one-day symposium in Abuja on setting guidelines for the protection of all sexes as part of activities marking the 16th-day activism against gender-based violence. Murjana to Adam Said reports.
Records by the International Labour Organization reveals that in 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic led to increased cases of gender-based violence and injustice in Nigeria and other countries of the world. This event in Abuja is to mark the annual United Nations 16 Days of Activism and a call for action against gender-based violence.
The ministry is in the process of ratifying ILO Convention 190 on violence and harassment in the world of work. So we decided to key into this program today to sensitize the public on the ills of violence and harassment in the workplace.
We want to join the global work, global action, and global call to end gender-based violence. And we hope that this signifies the leadership and the commitment of the federal government of Nigeria in collaboration with the ILO to work together with our social partners in order to prevent and eradicate violence against women and girls.
Speakers at the conference say the commitment of the federal government in collaboration with other development partners is yielding the desired results. In Abuja, Murjana to Adam Said, NTA News.
You're still on to Nationwide. Ogochukwuka is waiting in Benin with trending reports. Over to you.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening. Edo State government is to commence immediate rehabilitation on the failed portions of the bypass at the Benin-Sapele Warri Road in Benin City. This information was given by Governor Godwin Obaseki when he paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to the area to appeal to the protesting youths who have barricaded the road for more than a week, impeding vehicular movement and businesses. Ivie Yakire has details.
The deplorable state of portions of the road has been in the news for some time.
Road users have been having difficulties, which has resulted in the death of some persons killed by trucks trying to maneuver their way. In protest, some youths who remobilized and barricaded the road became violent, and NTA news crew was not spared. Before this time, however, civil societies and some other concerned youths occupied the road for days in a series of protests in a bid to attract government's attention. The good news now is that Governor Godwin Obaseki has visited the area and there is hope.
Promise me one thing. Open up the roads. I will bring my contractors here.
The youths are hopeful that the state's government intervention will bring respite to road users. The road is a major link between the southern states and other parts of the country. In Benin, Ivie Uyahire, NTA News.
And now the United Kingdom is partnering the Edo State government in addressing climate change, just as it is also in the forefront of those fine-tuning the processes of returning the artifacts looted from Benin by the Europeans. The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Katrina Liang, disclosed this in separate courtesy visits to Governor Godwin Obaseki and the Oba of Benin, Ewai II. Goodluck Enaini reports.
This visit is a follow-up to the commitment Nigeria made on forestry regeneration at the 2021 United Nations Conference held in Glasgow. Edo State has keyed into that initiative, and this visit will provide the needed technical assistance in tackling climate change by the state government. Governor Obaseki described the joint commitment as a gateway to achieving a biodiversity that will promote sustainable trade. Meanwhile, discussions on how to return the looted artifacts has reached advanced stages. British High Commissioner Katrina Liang stated this when she visited the Oba of Benin.
The role we can play is just to encourage and facilitate constructive conversations to enable the dialogue to happen, and I think that dialogue is now well underway.
Oba Ewai II, who described the visit as historic, expressed his belief in the sincerity of the British authority in this regard and urged Britain to prevail on other countries in custody of the Benin artifacts to do same.
However, this may be under the aegis of the Benin Royal Museum, which we have already registered. Collaborating with the NCMM, National Commission for Museum and Monuments.
He solicits support of international community in curbing illegal migration by building cottage industries and skills acquisition centers. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
And Nationwide has a commercial break now, and thereafter, Mina will be coming up with more reports from our Enugu Network Center. Please stay tuned.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
The Counsel of Our Fathers.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome to Enugu.
A two-day anti-corruption workshop organized by the Abuja State Government for Finance and Accounting Officers in the state has ended in Umuahia, the state capital, with a charge on participants to join in the fight against corruption in public and private sectors. Ifoma Ndokoli tells us more.
The workshop, which has the theme Governance and Corruption, was designed by the Abia State Government to inculcate the global accounting standards and prudent management of resources in financial managers in the state. Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu, while declaring the workshop open, noted that the idea is to make financial administrators in the state see themselves as partners in the efforts to tackle corruption in public institutions.
It's only through this kind of workshop that we can begin to see each other as partners in the progress of which is to make sure that the conserve resources are operated simply for purposes for which they were meant.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, who was represented by the Director of Operations, expressed the readiness of the Commission to assist state governments in their efforts to improve transparency and accountability in governance.
I therefore challenge this government to introspect and come up with options and proposals that will help the Abia State Government and other subnational entities to clean up the system in order to deliver sustainable development for their people.
Earlier, the facilitator of the workshop and Chief of Staff to the Governor, Professor Anthony Abuja, urged participants to avail themselves of the opportunity, which he noted will leave them better informed. The workshop is expected to be a continuous exercise. In Umuahia, Ifoma Ndokoli, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja for the rest of Nationwide.
And we now conclude Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for watching. Don't forget to join NTA in the campaign against rape and rapists. Have a wonderful evening. I am Lydia Odije Oche. Goodbye.